not as repentance for that. I'm going to share a secret of mine, an embarrassing secret of mine. This is something I think I've only sort of lightly touched on it in the past in a video, maybe a passing comment or something like that. And I know this video is going to perhaps sound ridiculous, but I pinky promise I am being 100% genuine with everything I'm saying. I don't want to say this is like an affliction or something like that, because it really does not hinder me on a day-to-day basis, but I mean, to some extent, it does, to some extent. So, I grew up texting on T9 keyboards. For younger people who might not be familiar, that's like the texting on the keys on your phone, right? So for example, for A, you press the 2 key one time. For B, you press the 2 key 2 times. For C, you press the 2 key 3 times. On and on and on through all the numbers. And so before the sort of virtual keyboards that phones have now, or even for a time period there were folding phones and things like sidekicks that had full physical keyboards built into them. But for a majority of early pre-smartphone cell phones, all of the texting was done on a T9 keyboard. So that is how I was texting during my formative years, and that has permanently altered my brain chemistry, because for more than a decade now, anytime I read a word, hear a word, anything, my brain automatically starts converting it into T9, and I have tried to stop this from happening. It just starts doing it automatically, basically against my will, and it can be very frustrating at times. There'll be times I can feel my brain starting to do it, so I'll start repeating a word or a phrase or something in my head just to try and create a different noise internally. But what it's doing, it's not necessarily like my brain is going, okay, let's take the word and. That would be pressing the 2 key, hold on, it would be the 2 key, and then the 6 key, and then the 3 key. That's and. That's not what I'm doing with the word. It's like I see and then in my brain I go 2, 6, 3. That's not what's happening. What's happening instead is I think of how many presses it would take to write that word, and then I'm adding them together to a assign a numerical value to the word. So for example, and would be one press for A, two presses for N, and one press for 4. So my brain, I'll say the word and, I'll read the word and my brain will say 4. And I think you're realizing that is literal insanity, but I am unable to stop this process from happening. It's automatic. And it's been happening, like I said, for more than a decade. I can't remember when it started. And I don't know why it started, but one day I just noticed it was happening, and since then, it's terminal. I feel like I'm gonna be on my deathbed, and I'll be doing this internally with words. But my problem is that it doesn't just stop there. So, I have a problem. It's things like this. I think I have some sort of something going on up here. I have a problem with numbers that don't end in a 5 or a 0. Now 4 is okay because that's a cube, it's a box. Don't ask me why that's a box, but in my brain 4 is a box, okay? The more I'm speaking, the more I realize how I sound. So 4 isn't necessarily bad. But in my brain, I go, okay, how can I take this word and make it equal a number that ends in a 5 or 0, a factor of 5 or 10. So with and, that's not that hard. I need to take the word, make it equal 5, but have it still sound the same. So for and, I just add an extra D at the end, A-N-D, D. That is 5 presses on a D9 keyboard. And my brain gets happy with that. Now, the word that this happens most often with, and I don't know why this is, but the time that I became most consciously aware of this phenomenon happening is when I was sitting at a stop sign, and my brain was saying 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, because stop, right? I'm gonna have a piece of paper here. So you have the word stop. To get S, you have to hit the key 4 times. A T only takes 1 press. An O takes 3 presses. And a P takes 1 press. So when I see the word stop, I see 4, 1, 3, 1, or 9. That's how I read the word stop, is 4, 1, 3, 1. But in my brain, okay, it needs to be a 0 or a 5. So internally, and the weird thing is, when I'm thinking it, I can almost feel or hear myself hitting the buttons. So like literally in my brain, it's like D D D D D D D D D. Like I'm clicking the buttons in my brain. But the word stop equaling 9 is upsetting to me because something's wrong in there. So internally, I hit the P key a second time and get stop with 2 P's. It still sounds is happy with that word. Let's do another one relevant to this channel. ASMR. We end up in a similar spot here. The A, that's one press. The S, that's four presses, as we've established. M is one press. And R is three presses. So ASMR is 1, 4, 1, 3. Or 4, 3 is 9. We're right where we were with stop, but with a different word. But now, let me flip to the other page. But now we have to make ASMR still sound like ASMR, but add a letter to get it to 10. So I go A-A-S. 5, 3, 6. I go AASMR 1, 1, 4, 1, 3, or 10. And I need you to understand, like, this is all happening basically instantaneously in my brain. I'll read ASMR. My brain will immediately go boom, 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 9. Oh, A. Extend it, make it a long A. Boom, 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 10. That happens in 2 seconds, less than a second. It's immediate. All of these processes. And so then let's, just for a final one, like it's something I often go by on this channel, Daft. That's kind of my nickname. 1, 1, 3, 1, 1, 1, 3, 1, 3, 4, 5, 6. Awful. 6 is awful because I have to make up 4 presses now in my brain. How do I do that? This one's pretty easy actually, although I'm now adding 2 letters. So this is what I do in my brain. Do you understand how absurd this is? Anytime in my brain that I read, hear, think this word, I immediately change it to this, which is nothing. 1, 1, 3, 3, 1, 1, 10. But that is what I'm doing constantly. So you understand why, to some degree, I call this an affliction, because I can't help it. And in some cases like that, it's absurd. And the only time it gets really frustrating is if I get a really long word that I can't immediately translate. Because usually it's just like that. But if there's a really long word, I will literally have to stop whatever I am doing and figure out the value of the word. I'll just sit there and actively do it. So let's take a long word. Let's look around me. Okay, crossword. Okay, 3, 6, 9, 4, 4, 1, 3, 3, 1. So 3, 6, 9, 13, 17, 18, 21, 24, 25. That's a perfect word. Because 25 is also my favorite number, so if anything ever equals 25 in my brain, perfect word. crossword is equal to 25. But see, that's one I have to sit there and actually think about. But my brain won't let me leave that alone until I figure it out. It will be like, alright, we have to do this now. And I can't help it. I don't know when it started or why it started. But it's a thing I've lived with now for years and years and years. So, yeah, that is my weird little secret thing that not many people know about. I've told my fiance about it. I don't think I've told any of my friends about it. My parents know about it, but it's just this weird thing that I can't help. And I've never heard of anybody else that does anything like this, at all. If you, on some slim chance, do this, I'd love to hear it in the comments. But I'm kind of assuming I'm alone in the world on this, and this is just my bizarre little behavior that I do. Anyway, guys, I'm sorry this is so short, but I do hope you enjoyed the video, or you at least found this humorous. If you did, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for content just like this almost every single day. Until next time, guys. Bye bye.